I'm going to press record. And
Okay.
hello, Nikki McNeil, PR Director and owner of Global Publicity. How's it been for you in lockdown?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, Sara. Lovely to see you. I've missed you in Brighton a lot, so looking forward to you coming back soon. I guess probably like most people, just trying to make sense of it all, trying to figure out how my work can still continue with the changing situation with all your clients. Obviously you feel a bit lonely, you miss doing a lot of things. So I guess it's a bit of a mixture really. And I guess everyone has their ups and downs and it changes from time to time.
So have you taken any kind of time out and done anything completely different from your normal life?
I don't think I have much actually. I've been a bit like you. I've been learning about podcasting because that really interested me, because when I was younger I did a student radio show. So that was my dream when I was younger. I wanted to be on the radio. Like you, I love a good chat, so I wanted to do that. And then I ended up working behind the scenes instead because I didn't really want to be in the limelight or anything. So I ended up kind of doing promotional jobs. So like you, I've been having a look into that. So maybe I'll be brave like you and be launching one soon. You never know.
Oh, I should think I would highly recommend it. Oh no, it's been lots of fun so far. Loads and loads of really cool guests, and hopefully got a few more after yourself lined up. And the reason I thought, no worries. And the reason I kind of thought that you might be of interest is that obviously your clients are global festivals, and they haven't happened this summer. Are there any that are going to happen, or is there anything that you can talk about? Have you been given any insider info on what's coming up?
Well, as you know from going travelling abroad, a lot of it's down to the travel situation and where we can and can't travel to, as well as the different implications and rules and regulations in each country associated with events, and every country seems to be different. So we tend to work twice as hard, at the moment, because you're constantly looking at different scenarios that the events may or may not be able to take place in. And then the next week there's another government announcement and it all changes. Some countries might be up to 50 with social distancing. Some countries have had events up to 300. Some are doing these big drive-ins, but obviously most of my events are festivals, and that's obviously something that's much harder to socially distance, and there doesn't seem to be many kind of government guidelines for those kind of larger events as yet. I've been working with Exit Festival in Serbia, as you know. Their festival was postponed because their Prime Minister asked if they could postpone it and not cancel it. So they were going to take place in August. So they've been looking at lots of different scenarios, working really hard to plan that and how that could or couldn't work. But recently there's been a spike in cases in Serbia. So now they've had to change it all again. So it's so stressful for them, just thinking they found a solution and it may be able to happen, giving people a little glimmer of hope that there might be a way forward in this situation of positivity. And then, you take a few steps forward and then 10 back. So they're now having to reevaluate how they could do things and how they could make it work safely. So quite stressful, unfortunately. So then you're in the background trying to help them and work with them. And obviously people are, lots of interviews coming in because there are people asking questions how it can happen. So it's been quite hard and stressful work, really. So
well, I bet, because even though things might not necessarily have happened, you have still been organising online events and liaising with artists and kind of promoting it, because you don't want to lose people's interest in the event. I guess that's just, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes must be incredible. And even therefore planning for next year.
Of course, yeah, very stressful. Lots of these festivals and events are independent companies, they're not big kind of corporations. So, their livelihoods are on the lifeline as well. Lots of them are run as non-for-profits. So they do a lot of charity work, have a lot of social campaigns. So then that's also affected as well, and, think about all the people that a festival employs, I suppose tour managers, stage designers, sound people, people like myself, all the volunteers. So there's a huge ecosystem of people that these big festivals support as well. So, and then that has a knock-on effect there. So, it is quite sad, but we're trying to be positive and find a way forward. But it doesn't look like many of my events will happen this year, which is sad. I was supposed to be in Iceland in June for Secret Solstice Festival, so I wasn't able to go there, which is sad. Exit Festival would have been taking place this weekend in July, so that's now out. May or may not be something happening in August. And then, of course, you've got the Amsterdam Dance event, which is a big one in October that lots of people are looking to what may or may not happen there. But that's more of a conference as well, so that has more of an opportunity to be some kind of online content where they can do some kind of online, offline, hybrid version, I don't know. So again, lots of research into finding the best way to do things, but yeah, nothing set in stone yet.
Wow. So do you know where your next kind of international trip will be, or are you not allowed to say, or have you
I really don't know. I was thinking I was going to be going to Serbia because there's air bridges between the UK and Serbia with no quarantines. Then you're like, right, okay, I can go there. But now with these new developments, things are changing constantly, and I don't know what the outcome of those decisions will be from the different governments and obviously the travel organisations. So, like I say, it isn't just the events and what's allowed at an event in different countries. It's what's the travel situation? Can I get there? Can I get back? So, it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, because you don't want to get stranded somewhere or have to quarantined or, catch anything, or wow, it's crazy. It's really just kind of playing it by ear. We all are, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's got their businesses to worry about, but everyone's health and safety is paramount. So, it's a hard juggling act between trying to maintain people's businesses, but also look at, the health and safety of, fans, people who work there, artists that come to the festivals or events. So, yeah. A lot to think about and learn,
Yes, yeah, because I guess a lot of festivals have got a reputation of being kind of, a little bit mucky because they're in tent and it's just kind of germs and you need to have the hygiene and all of that. But not when I've been to your festivals, obviously.
Which is difficult because any kind of, event that's like a nightclub with music, they're not meant for socially distancing. They're events where you want to socially interact, and also you vibe off the energy of the people around you. That's the whole part of it, so that's I'm really missing that, that's missing live music for sure. And people.
People, absolutely. Well, I don't know if anybody knew that Nikki and I founded the Press Trip Club, which is a group on Facebook, a private group. So you'll have to get past us two bouncers if you want to get in. And that's been going quite well, hasn't it? That was your bright idea.
Yeah, well, basically I was inspired by a colleague who set up a group called the Celebrity Interview Club. And it was really... Yeah, and it was really lovely to see how PRs and journalists could interact and help each other. So I think that was mainly set up for freelancers. So because, I obviously work, doing press trips, which obviously I'm missing a lot at the moment. I thought, yeah, I know. I miss being tour mother and having my little troop to look after and take around and enjoy themselves. So yeah, the idea was to see how it could work for press trips, because I was like, well, it's worked in this instance, surely it can work in this way as well, and we can work together. And it's kind of grown quite well. And it's great to have a place where you can sound out ideas, let people know that you've got a space in a trip, particularly last minute ones, isn't it? Because we all get people dropping out and then you're like, oh my God, I need someone at the last minute. So it's been really helpful for that too. And obviously the journalists can put up that they're writing a feature on something. Is there a trip in this particular country? So hopefully it will continue to grow. Obviously it's been harder during these times though, because we haven't got any trips.
I know. I've been posting, obviously I know a lot of freelance journos, and that's my kind of contribution to the group as well as the PRs. And I've been kind of trying to post thoughtful information that we can all, and hopeful, or the news when there's any news. I don't know if everybody's read it, so I'm kind of just sharing. And People have been generally positive, actually, and there's a few press strips trickling through now, because I think people are kind of starting to travel again, and things are opening up closer to home. I mean, I've still been writing about travel throughout lockdown because I write about anything. It doesn't have to be kind of a trip. My last piece was about caravanning in the UK.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you know, even though I haven't experienced it recently, I still managed to write about that. So that was fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's just good that you can use the community for that, though. So it's probably brought everyone a bit closer together, sharing, you know, issues they've had during the situation, and like you say, sharing news and ideas, or, you know, because I remember there was one piece in there, someone put, well, oh, would you even go on a press trip? You know, and some of the journalists were still scared about going, others were more pro it. So it was interesting to see the differences of opinion there, you know. So some people are still a bit scared about it and you would like to wait a bit longer before they go anywhere, which of course is fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, nobody can tell you how you should think or whatever. So no, it has been nice. It's been nice communication. But you also do another group on Facebook, because you're such a so it's called She Said So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, basically it's part of a wider global group started by a lady called Andrea, and it was basically to support women in the music industry. So I've been getting involved in that as it's been growing, and we decided to launch one in Brighton, you know, because we thought it's a good creative community in Brighton. So I'm working on that with Sheena Parker, who lives kind of close to me, and a few others in the group. So that's really nice way. So unfortunately, we just launched kind of the Christmas just before this all happened. So that was our first event, and our second event was planned in April, and obviously we couldn't have that event, you know, physically. So that's been harder to kind of keep the group together just as you're growing it. So the momentum's been harder. So what we've been doing is, She Said So, I've been doing a lot of kind of Instagram live interviews and things. So we kind of followed suit there. So we basically asked the group, you know, what kind of people they want us to interview. And then we asked them to ask questions they wanted to ask. So still try and engage them that way. And then we've been doing kind of one a month online. So we did Lucy Noble from the Royal Albert Hall recently. And then we spoke to Hester Lucas from SoundCloud, and then we've got a few more plans. So it's just finding ways to keep engaged with everybody and help everybody and support everybody during this time. But it is much harder online than meeting up, you know, together when you can meet face to face.
Absolutely. I mean, how popular are Zooms? I can't even believe how many. I have to kind of look at my diary, and then I'm doing Zoom workshops, or Zoom chats, or Zoom, you know, kind of just lessons. It's actually done a creative writing workshop for 6 weeks via Zoom. I'm doing something with the Open University, and it's great. It's like, what would you do without internet?
I know, it's brilliant. Although sometimes you get a bit Zoom anxiety, don't you? Because when you're doing particularly the conference ones, you know, where you're doing like an industry chat, when you're on a panel on stage, people aren't looking so closely right up to your face. But obviously when you're on a Zoom thing, your face is really close up. So say, for example, you don't agree with what someone said, you might be rolling your eyes. Everyone's going to really see that. So I kind of like tried to perfect my Zoom face, you know, to kind of look really interested and smiley the whole time. But then your face aches because you have to do it for an hour.
Wow.
And it's just so I just get like really stressed out.
You might have just coined something there, you know, there, Nick. Zoom face.
Zoom face. Oh God, it's stressful, you know, and then because now Zoom's really popular, people want to do video calls all the time instead of a phone call. So like you might have just got out the shower and not got dressed yet, and someone's then wanting to FaceTime you or something, and I'm like, a call used to be fine. Why do you have to see me all the time now?
I know, my niece is absolutely adamant on it, and it's just like, well, I've got stuff to do. I'm just going to leave the phone there while I'm, you know, crazy. But I managed to do, I do Pilates and a yoga online, and I don't turn the camera on. I don't think they need to see me. I just need to see them. And yeah, you know.
Yeah. It's yeah, you just got to get to it. Sometimes you're in the mood for it and sometimes you're not, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you for being in the mood today. And how's Brighton at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously the weather's turned in the last week, so obviously us Brits love to talk about the weather and moan about it, so we'll do a bit of that now.
Has it opened up though? Has it opened up? Are people mooching around about masks?
I mean, they weren't last week because the weather turned a bit, but it started to get a bit sunnier now. Obviously, there were lots of really bad news reports of too many people on the beach, as there also were in Bournemouth. But I think, you know, because the transmission seems to be less outside, I think we seem to have kind of done okay. I mean, there aren't so many cases or deaths in Brighton. Obviously, there are some, so it's still sad, but not as many in other parts of the country. You know, so I think we're doing all right. You know, I mean, I like to go on my bike rides out the way. Sometimes along the seafront can get a bit too busy, but you know, I just kind of get on my bike or walk right by the sea on the pebbles, because not everyone wants to walk on the pebbles today because it's too much hard work. But yeah, but it is nice, you know, when you're stressed with things, to be able to go and have a little walk, you know, by the sea, listen to the sea, smell the fresh air a bit, you know, so, you know, hear the seagulls. They're still about.
they're probably either really skinny because they're not getting fed, or there's loads more of them because they're not getting scared away.
Yeah, well, they're probably like, where's my chips?
Exactly. Oh wow, goodness. And one last thing before you go, are you what kind of advice would you advise anybody at the moment to kind of send you CVs, or how would they get into being a kind of global music promoter like yourself, PR?
Oh God, now there's a question. Well, I mean, when I started, I did a lot of internships. So I did do the working for free to kind of get some experience. So, you know, from what everyone says about having mentors these days, you know, and I think she said so, do a really good mentor program. You know, I think you've just got to try and get stuck in, you know, like we all did, you know, try and get some work experience, you know, try and get to know people. You know, maybe you could try one of these mentor programs, you know. Yeah, I think you've just got to be brave and ask.
Yeah.
You know, ask people, can I help? Do you need anyone? Or could I do a bit for free? You know, I know it's not good having to work for free all the time, but I think we've all done a bit of that to kind of get some experience, make some connections.
Yeah.
So it's easy to learn on the job, you know. So I guess I would ask, you know, be brave. That's one thing, you know, have some confidence and be brave. All they can say is no.
Yeah.
And what's that going to do? Will hurt you. Okay, your ego might be hurt for a little bit, but then you try the next person, and someone might say, well, I haven't got a job going, but you can come and learn from me from a bit. Or you know, or the other way, I suppose, is being a volunteer at a festival. A lot of people have gone in that way, because then you get to meet a lot of people. You might be doing artist liaison, just to kind of get different views of the industry, because then you get to learn about the bits you like, the bits you don't like, the bits you're good at, and then you find your little niche where you feel you could fit in, I guess.
But like you said, though, it's not just jetting off all the time. It's not all glamour, glamour, glamour. There's a lot of behind the scenes, you know. It's not just like booking hotel rooms for international artists. There's a lot of slog as well.
Yeah, well, most of my time I'm sat with probably about 50 Google Doc tabs open on my laptop with loads of emails and WhatsApps on the go all the time, getting very confused about what's going on. So yeah, probably 90% of my time is that. So that's probably a bit boring. Now, obviously the bit you love is, you know, is the going to the festival with the people, singing, making people happy, taking groups of people out to enjoy themselves. That's the kind of thrill and love I get, you know. You know, particularly, you know, some journalists I get, it might be their first trip abroad, you know, they're quite young and it's their first trip, and you've taken them on that and given them that experience, and that can feel really good, you know. So yeah, I do miss being with people and looking after people and being out and about.
McNeil head.
Yeah, I mean, not sure I'm missing airports, I have to say, but you know, I do miss being in other places, experiencing new things, you know, meeting new people as well. So yeah, it's been a bit hard, but you know, we'll see.
We'll be
yeah, well, I hope so. And, yeah, I mean, I look forward to you coming back to Brighton anyway, and I'm sure we can get our heads together and plan something.
Absolutely. Yeah, we might even have a party. Oh.
That would be good.
Well, thank you for now. I'm going to chat to you, but thank you for joining me on Talking Travels and other stuff. And speak to you soon. This is bye from me.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me, Sara. Lovely to chat to you.
Oh, bye.